bet if I asked even a diehard fan to name, I don't know, a half dozen or more members of the Penguins who'd been responsible for the team, having done significantly better since around Thanksgiving, Erik Karlsson's name wouldn't show up. And so I'm here to take care of that today, hopefully. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or baseball, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Pirates in the same place that you found this. The Penguins are out on the West Coast, of course. They'll be facing the Ducks tomorrow night in Anaheim, looking for, some way to follow up on what they just did to the Kings across town. Won't be easy, but it'll be made easier by knowing that their highest paid player's been one of their best players again. This after a slow start, and the slow start after Karlsson had missed much of training camp and really was just kind of thrown into things once the regular season got going. Not making excuses for him or whatever. I'm just laying out what's real, okay? Because he did not perform anywhere near his peak for the first, I'd say the first month and a half, maybe the first 7-8 weeks even. But then he got going. Ever since Thanksgiving Eve, and by the way, Thanksgiving Eve for me is the real line of demarcation for this team. When they went from being just whatever the heck that was early on and giving up 1 million breakaways and 2-on-1s and all that other stuff to at least being, not embarrassing. Well, the team as a whole is 13-9-4 since that night. Now, you can split that up any which way you want to make any kind of point that you'd want, because they've basically just been win-lose, win-lose, win-lose for a while now. But 13-9-4 since Thanksgiving Eve is real. And in that time, by no coincidence, Karlsson has played some of his best hockey since coming to the Penguins, meaning overall. Remember, there were occasions in there where he had to fill in for Chris Letang. He had to step up on the penalty kill, top penalty kill unit too, and get a lot of things done that he normally isn't asked to do. Here are some numbers for you over those 26 games. 2 goals, 19 assists for 27 points. Obviously, point a game is pretty nice. 8 of those 19 assists were of the primary variety, meaning he makes the pass that makes the goal happen. That's a really high number for a defenseman. He's registered 67 shots on goal, which is obviously an average of somewhere near 3 per game. He has 21 more shots on goal than any other defenseman on the team in that time. He's tied with Marcus Pettersson with 37 blocked shots. Now, you don't often think of Karlsson as being a blocked shot guy, but he's actually perennially among the NHL leaders, not because he's lying down and eating pucks. He's just really, really adept at putting his stick in the right spot to make sure he gets a piece of it, and that counts all the same. He also leads all Penguins in ice time. And boy, does that get you some respect in the room. And if you want to get at least a little bit advanced here, his 53.02 Corsi 4 percentage at 5-on-5, and yes, I'll explain what that is the best among the team's defensemen. What that means, plain and simple, if the Penguins attempt a shot on goal while he's on the ice, that's a +1 for him. If the other guys attempt a shot on goal, it doesn't have to be a shot, just attempting one, then that's a -1 for him. Just if he's on the ice. Well, the Penguins have generated the attempted shot 53.02% of the time when he's been out there, repeating, best on the D-core. I'm not here to start the Karlsson for Norris thing again. I wonder if those days aren't going to be permanently behind him. And I'm also not going to put forth that, all right, I will put forth that around the time that Karlsson's season started to take off a little bit, whether you want to attach it one way or the other, was when Johan Garpenlov, the former NHL winger and former GM and coach of the Swedish national team, publicly criticized him over there, saying that he doesn't belong on their Four Nations roster. That hits where it hurts in hockey. National teams, national programs are a really, really, really big deal in hockey, unlike any other North American sport. So I don't think that can be ruled out either. One way or another, he's been very good, and he deserves, I think, a significant amount of credit for the Penguins season just continuing to be a thing. You know, they're not in the playoff scenario right now or anything like that, so I'm not overstating it, but they sure looked like they were going to be dead and buried back in November. He's a big reason they aren't. When we come back, J1Q. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online, your number one source for all your summer sports needs this season, from Major League Baseball, golf, NHL, NBA playoffs. Get the latest odds and lines, including all team matchups, player props, odds on just about everything that's out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, where the game starts. Today's J1Q comes from Zach, who apparently picked up on a little bit of a hint I dropped into yesterday's program. Zach asks, DK, can you speak to the difference in the mentality of the team when you aren't always worried about the level of goaltending? It seems like the Penguins play with more confidence and are much looser, in a good way, when they get consistency between the pipes. And I hate to beat a dead horse here, but wow, what a complete game that was against the Kings in Los Angeles. Yeah, Zach, it was. And I'm not prepared to pronounce the Penguins, cured of this or that, or contenders or anything to that effect. They are where they are in the standings. They're at 48 points. They're 3 points out of a spot with a whole bunch of other near 500 teams hovering right in that same scene. But it's not me that you'd have to ask. It could be anybody who's ever played, coached, even officiated hockey at any level. And they'll attest that they take on the personality of their goaltender. Now, what's it mean when you say something like that? Because it sounds a little bit too intangible. It's actually not. If you're, and think about this, in the defensive zone, and you don't have confidence in your goaltender to stop a shot, you are going to go out of your way, at least if you, care, to try to stop shots or disrupt shots that you really shouldn't have to be bothering with, where you could be putting yourself in a position, for example, to, maybe cheat a little bit, go up a little closer to center ice, wait for the save, wait for the big outlet, take off. Now, I'm not describing NHL thinking here, all right? I'm giving you some beer league background, but it all enters your mind if you feel, as a hockey team, as a collective, like you're paying the price for every little mistake that you make, whether it's in the defensive zone, whether it's in the neutral zone, whether it's in the far end, with a pinch. It makes you tight. It makes you apprehensive. I like the way you worded part of your question there, Zach, when you said loose in a good way. It means loose in terms of being creative, in terms of, trying stuff that you might not normally. I don't know if this is the best example, but Kevin Hayes cutting in off the right wing and really pushing that puck to the net after the hard drive laterally. He's not taking a gamble there per se, but he's he's pushing himself. He's getting to the next gear. We saw some of that from Gino in LA even before his goal, with the bold approach that he took to crossing the Los Angeles blue line. We actually saw good things happening all over the rink. Now, I'm going to repeat it yet again, and I apologize for this in advance. It just has to be made at this point. This team is nowhere near out of any figurative woods. They're just not. They played terribly in Buffalo and got a result. They played pretty well in Washington, didn't get the result. They utterly dominated in Los Angeles and got the result. So you still don't know, mostly because of that Buffalo game, what you're going to get. But are there signs that they're, finding some confidence in who's behind them? Maybe. We'll see. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the way you asked it, especially. And I appreciate everybody who listens to Daily Shot of Penguins. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.